Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Woodland Pools. We are here at the Cardano Summit 2023 and finally got a chance to sit down in person with Micky Watkins from World Mobile.
Woodland Pool.
Micky, thank you so much for taking time to sit down. I really appreciate it.
More than welcome.
We've been covering World Mobile on the channel now for probably about 2 years and been trying to get a chance to sit down, and I think what might be a good idea is we probably have folks on the channel that have varied levels of familiarity with World Mobile.
Sure.
So maybe what we can do is let's take a step all the way back and do just a brief overview of what the project is and what you guys are doing, and then from there we can get caught up on some of the things that you're up to and where you're going from there. So what is World Mobile and what are you guys trying to do?
What's the problem? The problem is that there's 2.7 billion people on this planet that are unconnected, potentially more. There's a lot of people that are underserved, maybe 3-4 billion people, and there's not many people that actually have a stable internet connection that's affordable and fast. So what we wanted to do is, first of all, solve this problem for the biggest continent with the biggest problem in the world, which is Africa.
Right.
So around 4 or 5 years ago, we decided that that's what we were going to do. So we set up 2 nodes in a very small fishing village in Zanzibar.
Yep.
This was in 2019, and then this big pandemic came around.
Right.
These 2 nodes consisted of 2-meter towers, solar power. Underneath the solar power was a transponder receiver to receive a backhaul. That was a microwave VSAT link. And then we had a Wi-Fi unit, and underneath that we had Second Life batteries, charging port for people's devices.
Right.
And we wanted to see.
I forgot about that. That was so long ago. Yeah.
It feels like it was yesterday, but it also feels like it was 20 years ago at the same time. But maybe actually the most impactful thing we've ever done that really led to the catalyst of us really taking World Mobile to the next level. And why was that? Well, we decided that we were going to do a 1-month trial and see how the internet would change people's lives.
Sure.
You know, when we build stuff, we assume, right? But when you assume, you really need to prove it before you go to the next stage, and that's what we're all about. But we couldn't prove anything because COVID came around.
Right.
No one could travel.
Sure.
So for around 9 months, we couldn't get back to Zanzibar. When we finally got back to Zanzibar, the team called me and they said, look, we're in the same place, but this is not the same place. I said, guys, stop it. I want to know what's happened. I said, no, it's not the same place. I said, what do you mean? Just tell me what's going on. So they turned on their video camera, they connected, and they said, Micky, there was 120 people here when we come.
Oh, wow.
There's 300 people
so cool.
now.
That's so cool.
Micky, when we first came here, there was 1 shop. There's now 3. There was 1 bar. There's now 2. The fishermen have got new nets. The fishermen have got new boats. I said, how? I said, WhatsApp.
That's so cool.
I said, what do you mean? They said, well, the fishermen don't have to smoke their fish whilst they're waiting for a trader anymore. They can now message the trader live and show them the catch that they've got in their buckets. The trader doesn't have to have a wasted journey, and instead of earning $1 out of 10, they're now earning $10 out of 10.
That's cool, man.
For the fish. So that was it. That was the moment that I said, okay, we've got to do this. And then I said, okay, how are we going to do this? I looked at what Facebook, Microsoft, Google, other big mobile network operators and huge companies were doing, and figured out that they're never going to be able to fix this 2.7 billion problem alone. They haven't got the trucks, they haven't got the fuel, they haven't got the staff, they haven't got the ability to maintain the infrastructure. There's only one way to do this, and that's to give ownership of that infrastructure to the people. And then when you give ownership of that infrastructure to the people then care about their infrastructure because they're looking after that infrastructure because they're getting paid for looking after that infrastructure.
Right.
So this is what's called a sharing economy. So World Mobile is a new economic model for the distribution of telecoms infrastructure where there isn't any or where people are underserved. It's not just Africa that people are underserved. It's not just emerging markets.
Right.
It's also the United States of America, where you're from.
Yeah.
30% of the landmass is unconnected, 10% of the population is unconnected, and 40%, we believe, of the population is underserved. And what do I mean by underserved? I'm pretty sure, I'll make a bet here, but you know when you're in the car and you're driving, you already know where those spots are where you're going to lose connectivity.
100%,
and you'll say to your friend or your family or your business person, I'm really sorry, give me 10 seconds, 15 seconds, I'm going through a patch where there's no connectivity. And then the other person's like, hello? And you're like, hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. Okay, we're back now, right? That means you're underserved.
Right.
But you're paying for a stable internet connection. It's not the mobile network operator's fault. It's legacy business models and legacy infrastructure. Nobody can keep up, and it's getting worse. It's not getting better. So World Mobile is that model, we believe, a network run by the people, for the people, that actually fills in these holes in connectivity.
That's a lot. Wow, that really takes me back to I almost forgot how humble those beginnings were. Because I remember like in the Africa special with like that one tower going up with the, you know, with the solar panel thing, and it's actually incredible. To a certain degree, you kind of like forget how much progress has been made in such a short amount of time that, you know, now when you go to WMT scan and you look at 800 air nodes, right? To think that it was just like those two and just see what that does, that's incredible. So first off, congratulations, that's amazing.
Thank you very much.
Because like I said, I think to a certain degree I kind of lost the forest for the trees there when I'm just like looking, oh, there's so many more air nodes going up, like just forgetting how far that's come. So with that started in Zanzibar and kind of grew out from there.
Yep.
Totally off my radar, kind of sprung up now in Pakistan, like nearly double the amount of air nodes that are live there.
Yep.
And then of course the big Aerostat launch in Mozambique. So I mean that's one of those things where it's been an exponential growth in terms of how that goes. What are your thoughts in terms of then because part of it too is to a certain degree there's a thought of, you know, you look at it in terms of like breadth versus depth, right? There's a notion of like the breadth of like more countries and then or like more deeply getting permeated into within those countries. And so how are you guys looking at it in terms of which one you're trying to do first? Is it really a thing that you can do both at the same time, or what's the focus? Is it like organic growth within the country and then like you guys plant the seeds around, or how are you kind of approaching that?
We've done such a good job in Africa to develop a sharing economy. That, as you said, it's come out now in Pakistan.
Right.
But there's no World Mobile stuff. There's no World Mobile trucks. There's no World Mobile installation.
Right.
Someone has adopted the sharing economy, taken it, and the seeds are growing. And now there's trees. And those trees are the 300, 400. I think there's much more that you don't see right now, but you'll see them come live on WMT scan.
Right.
That's not our involvement. We've supported, of course, because it's nurturing the sharing economy.
Right.
But World Mobile is going to be everywhere. Every single country in the world, every single continent in the world. Not overbuilding necessarily where the mobile network operators are today, but filling in the Swiss cheese, those holes in connectivity.
Right.
Providing our aerostats to provide that huge rural connectivity solution. And there is no place that we won't be. The temptation is to do a lot at once.
Right.
But I have to hold back the team. And we're 100 and something members in our team. We have a lot of engineers, a lot of developers, and we want to move extremely fast. But we have to be focused.
Right.
You have to get it right, and you have to build this sharing economy so that one day we're not the ones responsible for rolling out the sharing economy. Because if it's limited by Micky Watkins or it's limited by our World Mobile team, we have limitations. We don't want any limitations. We want this to, you can pick up something, you can put it on your house, you can connect it. We fix all the licensing for you. We fix the mechanism in which it works.
Right.
You put it up, people connect. Right. So every place, every country, every continent, it's called World Mobile for a reason.
That's fantastic. And so then with Mozambique right now, it was the first Aerostat launch. I know you guys for a long time have been trying to see like where we're gonna be able to like get that launch. I know you're working through like regulatory issues to get it going in Zanzibar and it finally launched in Mozambique. So what's the plan there? Because it seemed like, and maybe it's just a perception thing that I'm misunderstanding, but it seemed like a very different approach there, where like you have this sort of like much more of a sharing economy, like individual air nodes set up in these other places. And Mozambique's all right, let's go with the big Aerostat. So like, is that now also then going to have those urban air nodes set up there? Are you going to additional Aerostats first? Is it a mix of both? Like, what's the plan for the additional rollout there?
The aerial network, not aerials, but the sky network and the terrestrial network, the ground network, can work independently of each other.
Or together.
Or together.
Right.
So eventually we imagine that everything will meet up and everything connects. Everything will be coordinated from the ground. And then when you leave an air node that's on the ground and you lose that connectivity, you connect to the sky. And then as soon as you see an air node that's on the ground, you connect to that air node on the ground. With the Aerostats, you're quite limited with the weight that you can carry to make it economically viable. So you've got to make sure that you don't have everybody hooked onto this Aerostat. The Aerostat is the ubiquitous coverage, and the ground network is the capacity. So in Mozambique, for sure, everywhere, and we have Aerostats already in the United States of America. There's unnamed countries due to Mike and our embargo that he puts on us, the team. But there's other countries that have Aerostats that are going up as well. We think this can really change the way that people connect to the internet. And of course, our ultimate goal is to have 20,000 meters, something that's self-stationary, self-station keeping, that doesn't move around like Loon, for example. But that technology isn't ready, and what are we going to do? Wait another 3, 4, 5 years for people to be connected? No, internet's a human right. Internet is opportunity. I'm sure many of the people that will watch this, if they're not watching it on your phone, the audience out there is much bigger on the internet, right?
Yeah.
I stand for the fact that people have the right to be connected, and I don't think governments or mobile network operators or big tech companies can do it alone. So we're kind of that bridge. We're bringing the people to support to do that. And then in return, the incentive for running that network is very circular. So you put up something on your house, you put up something on your hotel, you put up something on the side of a mountain, you put up an aerostat, and you make money from it.
And that's the thing too, is that what's interesting is how varied the approach has been, how you guys are doing it, because then as we're talking about the stuff, we're talking about developing countries and aerostats and air nodes on the side of a building, but then there's also the partnership you guys have done in Oregon with the telecom company there, and then I thought that was just the coolest thing about repurposing the existing towers and then using those as air nodes. Amazing. So with that, like, maybe you can talk a little bit about that. Like, so what's the plan? What does the rollout schedule look like roughly for that? I know everybody hates dates, but like just roughly, like what's the high level plan of when that actually comes live? Because to your point about the United States, I live in the mountains of Colorado. I know exactly what you're talking about. There's like a specific area when I come through the tunnel where it's like, okay, for the next 30 seconds, it's like, we may or may not drop off. Just let me know. Yeah. And then just, sometimes you just pause your conversation. You're like, just give me a second. I know when I come around this bend, we can pick back up. So I'm very well familiar that like that is a thing, right?
You're underserved.
So, yeah.
But you're still paying your mobile network operator.
Right.
And your mobile network operator wants to keep you online because they're making money from
totally.
you, but they can't.
Right. So anyway, so what is that plan for like that rollout in Oregon, and is there already plans for partnerships like that in additional places in the United States, or kind of maybe how's that going?
Oregon is a ISP, is a wireless ISP.
Yep.
Right now they're a single play, so they deliver internet to people's houses. With World Mobile, they become a two-play. They become a cellular provider.
Nice.
Their same sites, they become hosts.
Sure.
Those hosts then hold infrastructure, community remote operators buy their infrastructure. The Oregon is the host. They put it up on their towers, and all of a sudden you've got a mobile network built around everyone.
That's so cool.
In silent. The significance of it probably goes missed by a lot of people right now. But do you know how many wireless ISPs there are in the United States of America that all of a sudden could become mobile network operators in America? You're talking over 1,500 wireless ISPs that cover huge amounts of area. And then what about the ISPs? So we have some good things going on with some rather large ISPs as well, where they can become not a single player anymore, but they can add an extra line of billing to their customer's bill. And all of a sudden, they're providing cellular services. They're making more money. The remote operators are making money. And the customer is happy because the customer now has connectivity in an area where we know that they don't have particularly great connectivity because it's a wireless ISP. It means fiber can't get to the house. Yeah. So it's quite a big play, and it will pan out over the next 3, 4, 5 weeks for the public to be able to see what we're doing. And it's, again, another use case, another model in which World Mobile is so versatile in how it can deploy its infrastructure.
Fascinating. Okay, I have so many more questions, but let's do maybe 2 more. So the first one is we talked a lot about the connectivity part of the different air nodes and things like that. One thing that I think a lot of time people have questions on is like, so that all makes sense, and then why blockchain, right? So then so that's all a connectivity piece, and then where does the blockchain part come in? So like, for example, we run the ASPEN stake pool, we have an Earth node reservation, we're going to run an Earth node on World Mobile, but devil's advocate, so like you explain like why blockchain and what's the purpose of what like those Earth nodes do, and why World Mobile is on blockchain at all.
As a customer to a mobile network operator, inadvertently you've given up many of your human rights to stay private. I'm not saying stay private from the regulator or from, if you're a bad actor, we need the governments to look after us, right? We need to be able to catch a bad actor. It's not okay for anyone to build a mobile network that's completely private. But as a mobile network operator, why do I have the right to understand when you go to the bathroom? Why do I have the right to understand who's coming to your house? Why do I have the right to see all of this? I don't. And how do I know that as a customer, as a subscriber, when I'm paying for the connection, that you aren't using my data? I have no way of seeing that. Mm-hmm. So I believe big time in privacy. I think that it's something that we all should have. Right. So as World Mobile, we can't see any of that. You have a key. Right. The regulator has a key. If the regulator needs to access what you've done, that's nothing to do with us. They don't need to come to us. They have a box, they open that key and they see, right? If we access your information, you'll see that we access your information. You don't need to trust World Mobile. World Mobile is trustless. Yeah. So that was the core reason. But it's much deeper than that. In Africa, in the continent, digital identity how can you prove who you are as a person? If you can't prove who you are as a person, how can you gain access to all these ancillary services or all these value-added services or banking, as an example?
Yeah.
But then even deeper, as a business, do I want to have 29,000, 45,000, 75,000, 100,000 employees like AT&T or T-Mobile? No, I definitely don't. Because I can make it much more efficient by the use of smart contracts. I can make it far more efficient. The bureaucracy is all of a sudden disappeared and gone. So efficiency, privacy, immutability, transparency, something that we have not been afforded today from our mobile network operators or our providers. I don't think it's because maybe some of them take advantage of that, but I don't think many of them are aware of what can be done. So we're the new standards. We're the new type of mobile network operator. We are the modern MNO.
I love that. And the other thing too that I think sometimes even is subtle but gets overlooked that I've been thinking about a lot lately is that like when you talk about efficiency, there's not even just the efficiencies of the way these connections happen, but even just the very logistical efficiency of like having to, for example, if you're operating in 20 different countries and they're all trying to connect to the World Mobile Network and someone's trying to run like an Earth node or something like that, then like having to like figure out how do you do like currency exchanging for like all the people like paying in Pakistan or paying in Mozambique or paying like wherever else, and then turning that into like the currency that your Earth node operator, whoever wants to actually accept in dollars or whatever else. If everybody's operating in world mobile tokens, then that's it. You cross all the borders in that way, right?
And if you go like beyond the first layer of my brain and you go into my subconscious, when you're hosting a node, you want to get paid for that node.
Right.
You want to know that you've got paid the right amount of money for the person that's passed past your node, whether it's a World Mobile subscriber or a Vodacom or an Airtel or a AT&T or a Verizon person passes past your node, hooks onto your nodes. You want to know you got paid a fair amount.
Right.
And how do you know that in the real world? We don't, because this doesn't exist.
Right.
But let's flip it around. As a subscriber, how do you know that you're paying the right amount for the usage that you've used? You get a bill at the end of the month.
Right.
It says you've used 19.75 gigabytes.
Like,
how
okay.
do you know you
You're
used
like,
19.75?
You're like, sure, I don't know.
Sure,
yeah,
no problem.
right, yeah.
When you make a telephone call, I mean, most things are OTT these days, and I think the old telephony system for the connected world is going away, but there's still 2.7 billion people unconnected. Hopefully not for long.
Right.
But there still are. So they're only reachable via dialing a telephone number. When you dial that telephone number, how do you know that you didn't get charged for ringing? As a consumer, you look at your phone, you dial the telephone number, you click it. If someone bad in any company, and I'm not saying this does happen or doesn't happen, you can look it up online, but it's called false answer supervision, FAS, right? It's illegal. But just because it's illegal, if you have 1 million customers and then you charge them for 1 day, 3 seconds, 4 seconds of the ringing time, it's a huge amount of revenue to an expensive country. So how do you know that as a consumer? You don't. You just have to trust. Hey, trust me, bro, it's okay. Right. No, it's not okay. You have to have that transparency, and I think that transparency is probably what, in the end, once everybody's connected, will define World Mobile. Well, that's way back, right? That's something that isn't the big selling point yet. But I think eventually that will become the big selling point for people to understand, I don't need to trust World Mobile because it's all there. It's all there for me to see. World Mobile cannot screw me.
Yeah, I love it. All right, well, how about this? Like I said, I could probably go on for like another like half hour, but let's do this. So we are here at the Summit 2023.
Yep.
Let's say we get together again 1 year from now, right?
Way earlier. You've been waiting for 2 years. So the next piece of big news I'm going to give you.
Fair enough. I appreciate it. But so let's say like let's do both. Yes, let's also get back together sooner. And when you look at like a year from now, where with how much you guys have already done just in a short amount of time, a year from now, where would you want to see that World Mobile is at in terms of like, you're like, okay, this is like we're doing well here, and then this is where I want to get to, and what are you looking forward to in the next year for World Mobile?
Continued growth of the World Mobile Network without us having to roll that infrastructure out.
Right.
The USA, 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 nodes, another continent, and moving into Europe.
Nice. Simple. I love it.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah. Great. Well, any last thoughts for the folks that are watching, or if they want to learn more about the project or anything like that, anything you want them to know?
We've got an epic community. Please come join us. You don't have to buy anything or be part of anything. Just be aware that half the world is unconnected, and be aware that just your voice can change that. It's not right that every 1 in 2 people can't speak to each other. And I'm looking forward to the next one.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
If you have any questions for Micky, let us know in the comments down below. And if nothing else, we'll see you next week. Micky, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, thanks.
Bye.